co-parenting for me is like I'm dealing with like Camden's dad actually ended up going to prison. So he's been in prison since 2019. He went, wait, when did he go? I had Aiden in 2019. And so yeah, so he went in September 2019 and he don't get out until October 2024. So like, and then that just kind of like happened. Like
Yeah.
he ain't wasn't we knew like he was going to court, but like,
Yeah.
we didn't know it was federal. We didn't know how much time
Yeah.
until like court was in September, and then
Yeah.
he had 30 days. So we basically had 30 days to like prepare Camden for that. And so now I'm trying to co-parent with him in jail, which is hard because, the me be like, well, you don't got no rights right now.
Yeah.
So I don't care about your feelings. But
Yeah.
then like the higher me be like, okay, how would you feel if, and then I'd be like, I wouldn't feel no type of way because I wouldn't be in that position. So
You
so
struggle. So how do you establish boundaries within the relationship between you and your kid's father?
well, I would say like, so it's been like, I'll talk about pre-prison and then post-prison for like Camden, and then I'll talk about kind of like co-parenting with Aaron, because although we're married, like that's what I'm learning. That's still co-parenting because we both have to like raise
Yeah.
this child. And a secret is it's even harder to co-parent with somebody that live with you and you married to them. And you can't just be like block, skirt,
Yeah.
move, don't know the address, you know what I'm saying? All the
Yeah.
old tricks don't work. So
Yeah.
like with it was difficult with Camden's dad. I would say like probably this is like the year right before he went to prison. Cause I was single, for like a long time. I was single physically, but emotionally, spiritually, I was intertwined in some other stuff, which is like
Yeah.
a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
But long story short, you know what I'm saying? I was by myself,
Yeah.
kind of. So I had like this moment where like I was growing and I was getting to like new places and stuff like that. And so then I had got this house, ended up losing the house. And that was just a whole nother situation. So I moved into Camden's dad's apartment because he wasn't living there. And so within this time where I'm going through all this stuff, I find out that he has a girlfriend now, and I didn't know this.
Mhm.
And so Camden had been going like, they had just
Well,
had this whole thing
yeah.
going, and like I didn't know nothing. So so that was kind of frustrating because I was like, we had this understanding as co-parents because we
Yeah.
had gotten to this place where things were working out good. You know what I'm saying? He would take Camden to school, pick him up, and he was just really helping. And it was in like a healthy place. Like we didn't have, because we had just came from a place where like, he was kicking my door in. I had to go let Camden live with my mom because like we just could not get along.
Yeah.
So to see us in this place, and that was like within a year span, like I was just happy that we were able to work together. So I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna trip because I don't want him to think that I still want to be with him. My issue is like, don't just be like, don't, this is our child, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And so what frustrated me is because Camden came home and had told me like his
That
dad
person.
girlfriend had like, she had told him that they was going on a trip somewhere. And so I was like, first of all, like it's one thing for him to say, my dad said he about to take me to Disneyland, but for him to bust all these jewels on me at one
Yeah.
time, and
Yeah.
then you're telling my child you're taking him somewhere, and I don't even like, I know you because we had went to high school together or whatever, but I don't know you for being with his dad. So
Yeah.
found out he had a girlfriend or whatever. And so I moved into his apartment, which of course that was like mistake number one, because that was a main boundary, like
Yeah.
our own places. Like clearly we cannot cohabitat. You can
Yeah.
have nothing to do with anything that has to do with anything that has to do with me, that doesn't have
Yeah.
to do with your child. Even where I lay my head, that ain't got
Yeah.
nothing to do with your son, because that's my job to provide, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
Yeah.
you ain't got to worry about none of that. Now who's in there, yeah, that's a part of what you should worry about because they're around your child, they can influence your child, you know what I'm saying? So we had this agreement that we would tell each other. So anyway, I was in that tight spot, and so I chose to go stay in his apartment. And so the boundary of space was broken, and it was broken by me. And
Yeah.
so I'm living in his apartment, and at first, like, it was very, very difficult because he would come and go as he pleased because he still had a key. People would be knocking there looking for him, trying to get their, your things and whatnot. And I'm just like, what did you do?
Yeah.
So like it caused a little friction
Mhm.
because then at that point he stopped getting Camden, like he didn't take him anymore to his place because now he moved into a place with his girlfriend, which I wouldn't have had no problem at this point with Camden going, because y'all already been kicking it all as family.
Yeah.
Like they all lived in his apartment together and everything, girl. So like at this point, what can I say? I'm cool. Like y'all
Yeah.
family, we family, it's all good. You know what I'm saying? Like I even sat down with her, trying to have a conversation, and it seems like every time you sit down with like their current partner, when it's your ex, it's always them temperature checking to see if you still want them. And even if you don't want them and you make that clear, they still proceed as if F what she talking about. I'm a woman. I know how it is. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, baby, you know,
Yeah.
like, so
Yeah.
it was still difficult because then like she had this opinion and space where she felt like I had to include her in like our decision. Like I had to co-parent with her. And I'm like, I don't gotta co-parent with you because
Yeah.
one, y'all not married, and two,
Yeah.
like y'all don't have no kids together. So like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? In my mind, his dad is still alive and free. There's no need for you. Like
Yeah.
we can be cool, cordial. She would say like, let's go places. She want everybody to go places, like me go places with her and her kid and his dad and everything all together. And I'm like, I'm cool. I'm a family oriented person. So I'm
Yeah.
like, that would be dope. Most people don't have that type of relationship with their child's parent and their significant other or whatever. So in my mind, like I'm seeing this whole, vibe and thing like, okay, when I get my man,
Yeah.
we gonna all go on vacation,
Yeah. Yeah.
no, like it would turn into they would end up going to the movies without me because she would never tell him that she had made plans with me. So then it caused friction between me and him. And so then, Camden at this point, he's old enough to speak up for himself. And he's like, I'm not going if my mom ain't going. So
Yeah.
I don't know what to
Okay.
tell you.
Okay.
And so then his
Okay.
dad would. And so like I realized then that like that boundary can't be crossed, especially if I'm not in a position with a person that's healthy. He still had like a possessive mentality over me. So
Yeah.
like in his mind and what he was telling people is like he got two households. Like he got me and Camden live in his apartment, and then he got a house with him and his girl, and he take care of everybody, which was a lie because
Yeah.
I was paying the rent, I was paying electricity, well I was giving it to him, and he wasn't even paying it. Girl, didn't even find that out too late. So
Yeah.
then like, so that's pre-prison, like, I it was more so remembering to maintain the boundaries for myself and remembering, which boundaries can't be crossed. Like
Yeah.
if I needed help, I could have been like, I need to get another place to stay. Can you put us up in a hotel for a couple weeks? You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Something like that. Asking for help in a different way that doesn't ultimately break my own boundary. I don't
Yeah.
want you invading my space yet and
Yeah.
still I ask to stay in your space. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
Yeah.
like I learned that, and then right when that really started to go head to head, because we can't let our boundaries be like flexed on
Yeah.
forever until we start bucking back. So like
Yeah.
when my buck back started coming, you know what I'm saying? It was around the time I had like met my husband. So like now it's really showing how much possession he thought he had over me, because he like,
Yeah.
oh, she talking to somebody?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
he can't come to my house. You know what I'm saying? I used to do my little Mary Jane. He like, get it from your man and all, doing all that type of stuff. So it's like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, bruh, you got a whole girl. Y'all got a house. Like, I don't cause y'all no problems, bro.
Yeah.
Like, why are you stressing me like this?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, like, that's when I had made the decision, like, I don't want to, but I was going to move into my mom's house for a couple months before I
Yeah.
left town. Like, I was finna just pack up, girl, and go to Texas. Me and Camden was gone.
Yeah.
I didn't say nothing to nobody. I was 2 months out. I was like, I could do 60 days at Miss Sharon's. I could do that.
Yeah.
And so February came, and he ended up going to jail for the case that he's currently in prison for. And so then the landlord came to my door on Tuesday and was like, I was told that, and I had just found out that morning. So that afternoon he came and knocked on my door, was like, I got word that Kenneth Lindsay is arrested and he can't secure the premises. So you need to be out by Friday. And I was like, but I can pay you. Like, I'll pay you this month and next month right now if you want. He's like, no, you got to be out. So literally in a few days, I had to figure out what I was going to do. So I was like, I'll just go to my mom's till the end of the year, and then New Year we'll move. And so I ended up meeting my husband or whatever. And then Camden's dad was in jail for a few months, and then he got out. And so when he was out or whatever, they went back to the same thing. Camden would go over to their house on the weekends. They would do stuff together. Because at this point, I'm like, okay, I know you're gonna end up going to jail because you got this case. So we just went back to normal. Like it wasn't even anything, but I didn't stay in his house anymore. So
Yeah.
it was better. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
now we're back to where we have boundaries. I got my space, all that. But then we ran into the problem where it was me and him didn't have a problem co-parenting. I had a problem co-parenting with his partner
Yeah. Yeah.
because it would be it wasn't real and it wasn't genuine.
Yeah.
And you know, like I'm not gonna be the one. I learned my lesson in trying to point out the flaw or the
Yeah.
error in something else.
Yeah.
I'm just mind my business, you
Yeah.
know. So like it came to the point where I just like I was like, and then I was pregnant too. I had ended up getting pregnant, so like I just didn't have the time or the energy
Yeah.
to deal with him or her. And so really that's when I kind of handed it over to Camden because he's old enough to communicate for himself. So I
Mm-hmm.
told his dad, look, get him a cell phone and then you don't even have to talk to me.
Yeah.
Unless it's an emergency, something that has to do with medical, legal, education. That's all we really need to talk about. You don't need to call me to talk to him.
Yeah.
You don't need to call me to ask me to get him. You can call him and say, hey, are you coming this weekend? And Camden can say, hey, mom, my dad was, I'm cool with middleman and with our child. Because
Yeah.
at this point, that's more healthy for both of us, all three of
Mm-hmm.
us, than me and you even trying to do this right now. Because right now I'm trying to build a new relationship and you really ain't even trying to support that or really like, you know, so it started being a lot of like him trying to tell Camden, make sure Camden know ain't nobody else your daddy and da 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 and all that other stuff. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I didn't say that to your girlfriend. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so now my feelings is getting hurt because I'm like, I'm just trying to be happy too. Like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't get the same love, brother.
Yeah.
Like, ain't
Yeah.
we? You my brother at this point.
Dang, bro.
Yeah,
Bro.
like,
That's how
hey, bro,
you
why you
feel?
cock blocking?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
understand.
I would say it was just a matter of like both times recognizing what boundaries were necessary for the current position of our relationship. You know what I'm saying? So now he's in prison, and at first he wanted me to kind of like there was this rush on me and her getting this grand friendship together so
Yeah.
that like basically she could be Camden's dad. And I'm like, look, I'll give it a try, but she ain't even been consistent while you here. And of
Yeah.
course, as soon as he goes to jail, there's no consistency. She was supposed to bring Camden up there to see his dad. I left that up to Camden. He wanted to go. Of course, she's like, oh, I didn't book our tickets at the same time. Now the tickets are too expensive. So basically got my son excited to go see his dad and then said he couldn't go. Girl had we was calling all the family and friends trying to get the money together for him to be able to go. And then she just at the last minute was like, I'm not gonna get his ticket this time. So I ended up, girl, driving 7 hours to Illinois to take him to see his daddy and back in one day. Had to drop the little baby off to Madison because I told his dad, like, I'm not coming up there pregnant. I just had the baby. Give me some time. So I ended up bringing him up there. You know what I'm saying? And for me, that's my only boundary in me and him's relationship. I will do anything for my son.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And so as long as it's Camden's request or it's for Camden's benefit, then I'm flexible. But the
Mm-hmm.
moment you try to tell me something about you, I don't care about you or your feelings because you
Yeah.
grown.
Yeah.
You figure that out on
Yeah.
your own. You know what I'm saying? And I'm grateful Camden's at an age now where we can be in this space because
Yeah.
if he was any younger, like straight up, it would probably be a situation where like he wouldn't know where we are because it's just nothing you can do with someone that don't
See anything
like.
wrong with their decisions?
Yeah, no. And even if they say they do, they really don't. They just saying that so that you can like so they can let your guards back down. And it's
Yep.
hard to admit that about people. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because you be wanting to like, oh, they're growing. Like even now, he like, all I'm doing is reading. Well, what else do you have to do? Shoot, I can only imagine if we can't play basketball out here, y'all ain't playing basketball.
Well, what else
Digress.
you got?
You know, so it's just like, but I
Hey,
always hope for the best as a believer and somebody that believes that at any point anybody can change. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I'm always willing to allow people to show themselves to be different. But if you show yourself to be the same thing, like then no, my boundaries, they don't change, they just increase.
Yeah.
So like different
Yeah.
boundaries for different situations. And the
Yeah.
more you increase your level of like disrespect, then the more I got to increase my boundaries. But as
Mhm.
long as you're like, it's a mutually respectful relationship, then like I'm very flexible, you
Yeah.
know? So
Yeah.
like as he's gotten older, that's what I say for Camden. And then for Aiden, I would say like the difference with Aiden now that he's a baby is, like I said, Camden's dad was in jail when Camden was a baby. So I didn't have to co-parent with nobody till Camden was probably like 6 months old. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And like just through my pregnancy with everything starting fast, and then like having like a partner where it's like they ain't going nowhere, and they actually
Yeah.
like they care about what they want for they child and their family, and you're used to like a toxic situation where somebody trying to control you, so you like
Mhm.
what do you mean you want to name them? Oh, that's not happening. And I
Yeah.
just like I just rejected everything,
Yeah.
like to the point where I just like I even stopped talking to him for like 6 months out of my pregnancy. I just was like, get away from me. Cause like
Yeah.
I couldn't, I wasn't ready yet to have that 50-50 compromise
Yeah.
or that level of humility where I was willing to
Mhm.
submit even when I didn't want to. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So like with things where we couldn't agree on, where I could have simply just been like, I could have yielded because it really does not matter at the end of the day. I
Yeah.
was very like prideful. So that really kind of like hurt our relationship in the beginning with co-parenting, even within a relationship, you know?
Yeah.